I should have known something was off when Paige offered to handle my PTO request. We were on the same project team, her with 5 years in, me with 7. She was charming in that curated LinkedIn influencer kind of way, always thrilled to circle back, always had just the right amount of effortful messy bun. I didn't dislike her, but I didn't trust her either. Too smooth. Too polished. Still, when I mentioned I hadn't submitted my vacation days yet, she practically leapt in. "Oh my God, girl, just send me your dates. I'll loop in Craig and get it cleared. Seriously, you need this break." I was burned out. 2 product launches, 3 vendor meltdowns, and a manager who thought sleep was optional. So yeah, I let her handle it. A week later, my PTO was magically approved. Flights booked. Auto-reply on. I left my work laptop on my desk with a sticky note. "Be back Monday, don't burn the place down. T." I had no idea what I'd walk back into. The Monday I returned, something was different. No one said it outright, but people acted like they didn't expect to see me. Sarah from Data gave me a weird, tight smile. Jonah avoided eye contact completely. Paige waved casually from across the open-floor bullpen like nothing had happened. Until Craig, the director of strategy and my direct manager, called me into a quick sync. My stomach dropped. He didn't even wait until I sat down. "I wanted to touch base," he said. "While you were out, we made some agile pivots, some team realignment." My ears started ringing. "Paige has temporarily stepped into your lead duties, strictly interim, just while we evaluate some structural updates." I blinked. Structural updates? Craig nodded, scrolling something invisible on his desk. Nothing final, just redistributions. I laughed because I thought I had to be misunderstanding. "You mean Paige is managing my team?" He looked up. "Well, yes." Just like that. No warning, no notice, no return debrief. I left for 5 business days and came back to a stolen title. That afternoon, I called HR. I wanted to understand what temporary leadership delegation even meant, but Katrina, the HR partner, seemed cagey. Scripted. "From our understanding, Tara, you hadn't documented a formal return transition plan." What? I was gone for 5 days. I didn't expect someone to restructure my role. "Of course, I hear your concern. This will be taken seriously." But it was. Nothing was documented. No email, no memo, just a trail of vague phrases and managerial shrugs. And Paige. She played it like it was nothing. Craig asked me to step up. I was shocked. Honestly, I didn't think I could do it, but here we are. She even threw me a welcome back cupcake. It was red velvet. My favorite. That week, I dug through my inbox. I searched for anything that could explain how this had happened. And that's when I found the forwarded thread. Originally sent from Paige to Craig. Subject line: Tara PTO plus Q3 impact plan. In the body, she'd outlined concerns about how my absence would impact deliverables. She listed vague team frustrations, misattributed project delays, and even attached a slide deck labeled Q3 Fast Track Proposal, page draft internal only. It ended with, "Happy to support while Tara's out, unless a longer-term solution makes sense." It was sent before I even left. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't opportunism. It was a premeditated move. She hadn't stepped up. She stepped over. And Craig. He hadn't just let it happen, he'd encouraged it. I clicked on one of his replies, a few messages down the thread. "Appreciate the initiative. Let's connect before she's back." Before I was even back. Before I had any idea my job was already being split behind my back. I printed the email thread. 3 pages, single-sided, full headers. I didn't send it to HR, not yet. Instead, I walked into Paige's cubicle. She was mid-laugh with someone from sales. "Hey, can we chat a sec?" She blinked like I'd just ruined her brunch reservation. We stepped into the huddle room. I laid the emails on the desk, watched her eyes scan them, watched her fake surprise flicker into something like boredom. "I saw these," I said. She tapped a nail against the top page. "Where'd you get them?" I tilted my head. "Why does it matter?" She smiled. Too calmly. Tara, this is corporate. Everyone's playing chess. You just forgot to move your queen. I should have walked out. Instead, I asked, so what happens next? She looked up at me like it was obvious. Well, I guess we see which one of us survives the next reorg. And then she added, almost sweetly, good thing you're back, we've missed you. My jaw locked. Because that's when I knew. This wasn't over. And someone else had known it was coming all along. By Wednesday, my welcome back cupcake sat untouched and fossilizing on my desk, while Paige chaired the stand-ups like she'd been born with a company lanyard around her neck. Every quick win she cited was, in reality, a half-finished task I'd left in Trello with my initials on it. Craig clapped anyway, like a proud dad watching his favorite kid recite someone else's poem. I needed proof big enough to flatten the both of them. Something we were just being agile spin could erase. So I called Sam. Sam's our overnight systems engineer, the guy who keeps the servers from catching fire when we're asleep. More important, Sam moonlights as the unofficial IT confessional. Bring him donuts, and he'll tell you which VP still types with 2 fingers. Bring him something stronger, and he'll dig deeper. I owed him a bottle of small batch bourbon for helping me debug a permissions nightmare last quarter, so I cashed in the favor. Hypothetically, I said, sliding onto the stool beside his monitor graveyard, if someone moved themselves into my office while I was on PTO, would there be badge logs? His eyebrow arched. Hypothetically, yes, and cameras. I handed him a paper bag. He glanced inside, Knob Creek 12-year, and nodded at the nearest chair. Give me names and dates. Paige Brenner, July 14th through 18th, after-hours entries. His fingers flew across the keyboard, screen flickering through timestamp columns faster than my pulse. 2 entries, he muttered. July 16th, 9:43 p.m. and 10:57 p.m. Office Pod G12. That's your quadrant. My stomach flipped. She was in my space after 10 at night. He swiveled to the second monitor, CCTV archives. A grainy grayscale hallway popped up. He scrubbed forward until 9:43. There she was, Paige, ponytail, leggings, company hoodie, swipe, click, door opens. She disappears into my pod. Sam zoomed in. The timestamp blinked for 8 long minutes before she reemerged carrying a file box and my coffee mug. Mine, the one with the Control plus Z-Life joke. Sam whistled, bold. Can you export that clip? He side-eyed the bourbon. Done. While it rendered, he kept digging. She printed something big that night too. Printer Q shows a 92-page job from her laptop. File name, Q3 full deck via FINAL. Sound familiar. My deck was exactly 92 slides. He zipped that log and added it to the USB. I squeezed his shoulder. You're a saint. More like an underpaid sinner. Good luck, T. Armed with CCTV, badge logs, and Paige's late-night print record, I headed for HR, but stopped at the hallway TV. Company announcements looped silently. There, in bold teal letters. Team Lunch and Learn. Driving Strategic Velocity. Presenter, Paige Brenner. Friday at 12:00, Boardroom C. It was my keynote, the one Craig told me we'd schedule later in Q3. She just reskinned it, slapped her name on top, and booked the biggest boardroom. That wasn't ambition, that was identity theft. I marched to HR, adrenaline prickling. Katrina greeted me with that HR-neutral face, 2 parts empathy, 1 part plausible deniability. I need to file a formal ethics complaint, I said, sliding the USB across her desk. This drive has badge logs, print records, and hallway footage showing Paige removing proprietary materials from my office during my approved PTO. Craig was aware. Here's the email chain. She took the drive, eyes widening at the printed thread. That's substantial. And time-sensitive. She's presenting stolen work Friday. Katrina nodded, but her voice lowered. Tara, off the record, watch your flanks. Some folks think you're overreacting. I leaned in, then let them watch the footage. She pressed her lips together and hit record on the desk mic. Okay, let's start the formal statement. Late that night my phone buzzed, unknown number. I let it ring into voicemail. 30 seconds later, a transcription popped up. You've made this bigger than it had to be. Pull back, Tara, or we both go down. Paige, tremor in her voice, but still that sugar-acid accent she used when pitching synergy. I archived the voicemail to my evidence folder. Then I opened my calendar and accepted her lunch and learn invite, RSVP, yes, with guest. The guest, Katrina from HR, plus Sam on AV duty, ready to push play on the hallway footage the moment Paige queued up her strategy slides. Professional chaos meets scheduled demolition. Cliffhanger. The lunch and learn is 48 hours away, and I just requested the boardroom's AV feed be live-streamed company-wide. The email confirmation came through at 9:07 a.m. sharp. Subject, Boardroom C, AV stream setup confirmed. From Facilities. To me, Katrina HR, Sam IT. The message was short. As requested, session will be live-streamed to internal Teams channel. Backup recording enabled. AV booth access granted. I stared at it for a full minute. This was happening. No turning back. I was about to blow up a fraud in front of everyone, including upper management, junior analysts, interns, even the quiet accounting guy who'd been here since the dial-up era. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. Then I clicked over to the internal calendar and watched as the attendee count for Paige's lunch and learn ticked up from 57 to 74. The company wanted a show. I was going to give them one. Friday arrived with storm clouds and energy drinks. I dressed like I was heading to court, navy sheath dress, black blazer, zero accessories, professional, deadly, neutral. At 11:40 a.m., I walked to the AV booth behind Boardroom C. Sam was already there, wearing headphones and sipping a Red Bull like it was champagne. "You're all set," he said, pointing at the screen. "Mic 2 is hers, mic 3's a backup, yours is 4, the video will play on cue." Katrina arrived a minute later. She wore all beige and carried a legal pad like a shield. "Don't provoke," she whispered. "Let the evidence speak." I nodded. I wasn't here to gloat. I was here to end the performance. At 11:59, the glass doors opened and Paige floated in like a TED speaker. Sleek ponytail, gold hoops, a wrap dress that screamed aggressive humility. She didn't see me at first. Too busy greeting attendees and placing little hand-printed agenda sheets at each seat. Driving strategic velocity, unlocking Q3 growth with clarity and courage. Presented by Paige Brenner, acting strategy lead. I almost laughed out loud. Acting lead. Oh, honey. She launched into her intro at 12:04. I stayed in the AV booth, behind tinted glass, watching her pace the room like she was born with a mic in hand. Q3 is about trust, about momentum, about realigning our internal compass. I nearly choked. She advanced to slide 3. My formatting, my phrasing. Hell, she hadn't even changed the bullet icons. Sam leaned toward the mic. "Ready. Wait for it." Then she hit slide 7. The one labeled, Agile Restructuring, a Tactical Framework. That was my cue. I stepped out of the booth. Walked down the side aisle, slow and quiet. All eyes on Paige. Until I reached the wall-mounted touchpad and tapped Input 2. The projection blinked. And then the hallway footage began. At first, no one spoke. Just a grainy video of Paige unlocking my office at 9:43 p.m. during my PTO. Walking in, lights on, carrying a box out 5 minutes later. Whispers erupted. Then came the second clip, her printing 92 pages from her laptop, time-stamped, identical to the deck now on the screen. Gasps, murmurs, a cough from someone in the back. Paige froze mid-sentence, laser pointer still in hand. Then her mic went live. "This is harassment," she snapped. I stepped forward. "This is evidence." The screen cut to the email thread, projected in all caps glory. "Happy to support while Tara's out, unless a longer-term solution makes sense." Someone at the back said, "Oh shit." Another whispered, "Is this being recorded?" I spoke calmly. "This presentation is plagiarized. The materials were taken from my workspace without consent. HR has verified the footage. It has confirmed the timestamps, and leadership has been aware of this complaint for over 72 hours. Katrina cleared her throat. "We will be investigating this further." But Paige cut her off. "Are you serious right now?" she hissed. "She's just mad I did the job better." I turned. "You printed my deck, Paige. You pitched my keynote. You hijacked my role while pretending to do me a favor." Her voice broke into that shrill upper register that always follows unearned power. I was asked to help. And then she made the mistake that sealed her fate. She pointed to the footage and shouted, "This doesn't prove anything." Silence. I turned to the AV camera and said, "For the entire company feed to hear." "Then let's roll the badge logs too." That was the end of Paige's lunch and learn. Legal sent an internal memo by 3 p.m. By Monday, Paige was on administrative leave. Craig, the director who empowered her, suddenly on a planned sabbatical. And me. I was asked to present a corrected version of the Q3 strategy to the executive board. But the real twist. As I packed up the projection gear after the session, Sam handed me a second USB. "Found something else," he said. "What is it?" He just smiled. Let's say Paige wasn't the only one running a side agenda. Cliffhanger. There was another name buried in the logs, someone higher than Craig, and their betrayal was still waiting to be exposed. The second USB sat on my kitchen counter like a live wire. I didn't touch it that night, didn't open it while brushing my teeth or while rerunning the humiliation loop in my head. I let it sit, taunting, pulsing with implied malice until morning, because I knew if I opened it too soon, I might make a mistake. The kind of mistake that gets you politely walked out by HR with your keycard deactivated before you hit the lobby. So at 7:03 a.m., I booted up my personal laptop, turned off Wi-Fi, and plugged in the drive. Inside, a single folder titled Redirect Threads. I clicked. It contained screenshots of internal Slack messages, flagged emails, and one exported audio file. All of them revolved around one phrase. "Tara won't escalate, she's a legacy play." And the person saying it. Lee F., our chief operating officer. She wasn't just above Craig, she was his boss's boss. And she'd been looped in the entire time. In one Slack screenshot, Craig wrote to Lee, "Paige can own delivery optics. Tara's too black and white for Q3, needs someone smoother." Lee responded with a thumbs up emoji and, "Push Paige hard, give Tara the velvet rope. She's brand safe if she stays quiet." Velvet rope. As in, give her the illusion of access, but don't let her cross it. Another email, dated 3 days before my return from PTO, read, "Finalizing Q3 narrative. Brenner has full draft. Tara will stabilize from the back end if she doesn't flip." The audio file, worse. It was from an informal sync, likely recorded at a conference dinner. Craig's voice was easy to identify. The second speaker was Lee. There was clinking silverware, ambient chatter. Then, "Craig, what if she pushes back?" Lee, "If she escalates, bury it in tone. Say she's combative. Say she's reactive. Say she's fragile. It always lands." Craig laughs Jesus. Lee, "It's corporate, not kindergarten. She knew the rules when she got the title." I hit pause, my chest burned. Not just because they'd tried to sabotage me, but because they had a full protocol for what to do when women like me refused to play nice. They didn't just trip me. They built the hallway crooked and dared me to walk straight. I messaged Katrina from HR. "Me, I need a secure meeting. Urgent." Katrina, "Today." Me, "Now, I have audio." We met in a side room behind facilities. No glass walls, no webcams, just fluorescent lights and a folding chair. I played the clip. She didn't blink until the "say she's fragile" line. Then she whispered, "That's retaliatory planning." No kidding. And this was from Sam, "But you didn't hear that." She nodded once. "I'll have to escalate to legal." "You won't have to," I said. Because I already had. Before I walked into the office, I'd sent the audio file, email thread, and Slack screenshots to my attorney. He replied 10 minutes later. "This qualifies as constructive interference plus retaliation. You've got a discrimination case if you want it. But tread carefully, Lee's got friends at the top." I did tread carefully. But I didn't tread quietly. At noon, I was summoned to the 15th floor. The glass boardroom with the espresso bar, where they made real decisions, the kind that didn't get shared in department memos. 4 execs were waiting. Lee was not one of them. Instead, Elliot, the CEO, sat at the head of the table, arms folded. He had the look of someone who just found out he's been drinking from the wrong water cooler. Next to him, our general counsel, a woman named Diane who didn't smile when I entered. "Tara," Elliot said, "we've received disturbing materials." I nodded. "I can confirm all of them. None were altered." Diane tapped her pen. "How long have you known?" "Since Sam pulled the badge logs, but the audio, just yesterday." Elliot leaned forward. "And you're prepared to go public?" I didn't flinch. "I'm prepared to ask one question. If I'd been a man, would Lee have called me fragile?" Silence. Then Elliot said the phrase I'd waited 3 weeks to hear. "We'll be placing Lee on immediate leave, pending investigation." An hour later, the announcement hit the intranet. Effective immediately, Lee F. will step back from her role as COO to support an internal review. We remain committed to transparency and equity in leadership. No apology, no acknowledgement of the rot. But I knew what it meant. It meant they were scared. Katrina pulled me aside that evening. "We'll be reviewing how your return was handled. I've been asked to draft a retention package." "I'm not interested in money," I said. She nodded. "Then what do you want?" I looked her in the eye. "Power and a firewall." Because this wasn't just about reclaiming a title anymore. It was about building something no one could take again. And I was just getting started. Cliffhanger. With Paige out, Craig silent, and Lee suspended, one player remained, the person who signed off the reorg doc. And I just found his initials buried in the metadata. Metadata doesn't lie. I learned that back in undergrad when I accidentally caught my TA plagiarizing a research paper. His initials were buried in the author field of a Word doc supposedly written by a student. That lesson came roaring back the moment I opened the Q3 reorg proposal file from the leaked email Paige had printed. I didn't open it in Google Docs. I opened it in Notepad++, then pulled up the document properties. Author M. Bennett. Not Craig. Not Paige. Not Lee. Michael Bennett. Our chief financial officer. The one who barely ever spoke, unless we were a line item or an expense. The one who shook my hand the day I got promoted and said, "Don't let this place wear you out, or worse, use you up." I had thought it was kindness. Turns out it was a warning. Or maybe a confession. I didn't confront him immediately. I did my homework first. Sam helped again, quietly off record. He cross-checked shared file histories and found that the original Q3 reorg draft had been uploaded to a restricted finance subfolder 3 days before Paige ever laid eyes on it. Uploaded by M. Bennett at Company, Com. And then, he assigned read-only access to Leigh, Craig, and Paige. Not one of them had created the hit list. They just agreed to it. Which meant one thing. Michael had orchestrated the whole thing. And everyone else. They were just executors. On Monday morning, I requested a sync with Michael. He replied within 10 minutes. We met in his corner office, which overlooked the skyline like a Bond villain's lair, quiet, pristine, impersonal. A single framed photo of his dog on the windowsill. He gestured to the seat across from him. "To what do I owe the pleasure?" I didn't sit. I handed him a printout of the metadata and file history logs. "I just want to hear it from you," I said. He took the paper, eyes flicking down slowly, methodically. Then he set it on his desk, laced his fingers together, and said, "I did it to protect the company." My stomach turned. "By setting up your colleagues to stab each other." He exhaled. "I did it because we needed a fall person for the reorg, someone respected enough to make it look strategic, disposable enough that no one would riot. You were a legacy play, Tara. You survived 2 CFOs, 3 CMOs, and somehow stayed clean." He looked up at me, face neutral. "They were going to choose someone. I just made sure they chose you." I didn't speak. I couldn't. Because somehow that hurt more than Paige's betrayal, more than Craig's weak spine, more than Lee's toxic mentorship. This man had studied me, measured my reputation like a commodity, and decided I'd make the perfect sacrifice. "You don't even know me," I finally said. "I know enough," he replied. "And I know you've already outmaneuvered 3 people who were supposed to bury you, so let's not waste time pretending we're not playing the same game now." He reached into a drawer and slid a manila envelope across the desk. Inside, an offer of promotion to VP of Strategic Transformation, a 20% raise, a non-disclosure addendum, and a clause stating, recipient waives right to pursue internal grievance or external legal action. He leaned back. "Take it, win publicly, quietly, cleanly, or start a war you might not finish." I took the envelope, not because I accepted, but because I wanted to know the price of my silence. And it was just under $310,000 a year. That afternoon, I walked straight to Diane in legal. "Is this blackmail?" I asked. She read through the doc, her lips twitched. "It's clever, not illegal, but if we want to play chess, there's one thing Michael didn't account for." "What?" She tapped the corner of the contract. "This clause," she said. "It's dated 3 days before Lee was placed on leave, meaning it's reactive. And if we can prove that he's offering hush money tied to an ongoing investigation." She grinned. "Then he's out." On Friday, another announcement hit the internal site. Michael Bennett, CFO, will step down effective immediately following an internal governance review. Just like that, he was gone. No farewell email, no press release. His name was scrubbed from the org chart within hours. And me. I didn't just keep my job. I was appointed interim chief of strategic operations during the transition phase. Same floor, different power. And the first thing I did, I sent one email to the entire company. Never underestimate a woman who knows how to read metadata. Cliffhanger. But 1 week later, I got an envelope in my company locker. Unmarked, no return address. Inside, a single photo of me at my desk, time-stamped from 3 nights earlier. And a note. "Nice win, but someone's still watching." I didn't even realize I was holding my breath until I reread the note for the 5th time. "Nice win, but someone's still watching." It wasn't handwritten. It was printed in 12 PT Arial, the kind of default font a person uses when they don't want to leave fingerprints, literally or stylistically. The photo was grainy but unmistakable. Me at my desk, 9:37 p.m., hunched over my laptop with one hand in my hair. I remembered that night. I stayed late working on a department-wide realignment memo. But here, the problem. I didn't see anyone on that floor when I left. And the internal CCTV system only stores footage for 7 days unless someone flags it. Which meant whoever took this photo wasn't using our security cameras. They were using their own. By noon, I had 2 theories. 1, someone on the security team had gone rogue. 2, someone had placed a personal device in my office or nearby. Either way, this wasn't corporate espionage. This was personal. So I did what any woman in a building full of snakes would do. I went hunting. Sam and I met on level 6, the least used floor in the building, mostly abandoned since pre-pandemic days. He brought a thermal detector and a handheld RF scanner like he was about to break into the Pentagon. "You think there's a hidden camera?" he asked, scanning near my overhead light fixture. "I don't think I know." It didn't take long. In the top corner of my office bookshelf, behind a stack of untouched quarterly reports, he found it. A pen-sized micro camera, magnetized to the metal backing, angled perfectly toward my desk. He powered it down, unscrewed the base, and pulled the microSD card. "Battery lasts a week," he said. "Whoever been watching you, they've been refreshing this thing on a schedule." I swallowed hard. "Can we trace where the footage is being uploaded?" He nodded. "If they were stupid, yes. If they were smart." He didn't finish the sentence. We plugged the card into his workstation. No password protection, amateurs. Over 140 videos, low-res, short clips. The first one, from 3 weeks ago. It captured me taking a call, then sipping tea, then muttering to myself as I revised a project deck. Nothing scandalous, but invasive, constant, intimate. Like someone was watching not to catch me doing something wrong, but just to know what I'd do next. The final video was from 2 days ago, the night after Michael was fired. And it showed something I'd missed. A shadow. Someone tall, fast-moving, passing by my door twice. Once at 9:12, again at 9:38. Right after I'd left. Sam froze the frame, enhanced it, zoomed. My stomach dropped. The build, the profile, the stupid lanyard that always hung from his belt loop. Craig, the man who'd claimed he was shocked at the leadership fallout, who sent me a damn congratulatory cookie bouquet when I was named interim CSO. He wasn't just part of the cover-up. He was still active. And watching. I didn't report it right away. Instead, I invited him to coffee. Neutral ground, bright cafe, plenty of noise and distractions. He showed up wearing that smug little half-smile, like we were back on the same team. "How's the big chair?" he asked. I handed him the envelope. Inside, a USB copy of the camera footage. He looked at it, then at me. Then laughed. "You think this proves anything?" "I don't need it to prove anything," I said. "I just need it to make you sweat." He leaned in. "You're making enemies." "I'm making policy," I replied. "There's a difference." His smile vanished. I stood up. "You planted that camera because you thought you'd catch me screwing up, or maybe just breaking. But I don't break, Craig. I log, I track, and I escalate." He didn't speak. So I delivered the final hit. "Oh, and I just Diane on our calendar invite. Hope you brought your A-game." Then I left. And let him sweat. By the end of the week, Craig was transitioning to new opportunities. Another polished way to say exiled. The leadership board was down 3 players. The strategy team had 0 traders left, and I had full control of the narrative. Or so I thought. Until the second envelope came. No note this time. Just one single image. A selfie of me in the AV booth, taken from behind, while I played the CCTV footage at Paige's Lunch and Learn. Zoomed, cropped, centered perfectly. And on the bottom corner, a watermark. The mirror never forgets. I stared at it, chills running up my spine. Someone was still watching. And now they wanted me to know they'd been there the whole time. For 3 days, I stared at that damn watermark. The mirror never forgets. It was cryptic enough to sound poetic, but deliberate enough to feel like a threat. No timestamp, no metadata. The image had been scrubbed and printed on premium paper, laser quality, high-res, anonymous. Someone had access, someone who wanted me to look inward or backward. Either way, it wasn't over. The traders were gone, but the game was. And whoever was behind the camera wasn't just some jealous peer with delusions of grandeur. They were methodical, invisible, and they knew exactly when to strike. I pulled every access log from the AV booth for that day. Only 6 people had badge access. Me, Sam, the facilities lead, Katrina from HR. And Alan Doyle, VP of IT infrastructure. Alan fucking Doyle. Friendly in a LinkedIn quote way. Old school, gray-templed, the kind of guy who still said web portal unironically. The same Alan who just happened to approve access privileges for Craig and Paige weeks before I caught them. I had ignored him, background character, harmless. But that's what makes a ghost so powerful. You don't suspect the guy who fixes your conference call, you don't watch the watcher. Until he sends you a picture of yourself, on the day you burned everything down. I confronted him in the server room. He was alone, sleeves rolled up, mid-conversation with a vendor on speakerphone. When he saw me, he paused the call without blinking. "Didn't know I had a meeting," he said smoothly. I held up the envelope. He didn't even pretend to not recognize it. "Ah," he said, that. You're good, Tara, but you're not the only one with a long memory." My mouth went dry. Why? He sat on the edge of the server cart, folding his arms. 3 years ago, you shut down that expansion project in Bangalore. Remember that? I flagged it for ethics violations. There were unpaid contractors. And it cost this company $2 million in sunk contracts. You embarrassed the board. I blinked. You're still pissed about that. He chuckled, not pissed, just aware of your reach, your ability to destabilize things. Even when you're right, you're dangerous. He walked to a nearby panel, tapped in a code, and the server racks clicked softly as he powered them down. You think you're the only one playing chess, but you're playing in a hall of mirrors. He turned, serious now. I've been documenting everything. Every policy override, every sideline deal. I've got receipts from before you even joined strategy. My voice was barely above a whisper, so this wasn't about me. No, but you made yourself central, loud. He walked past me, heading for the exit. But don't worry, he added without looking back. I'm not here to end you, I'm here to archive you, for the record. I went straight to Diane in legal. Played the tape I'd secretly recorded on my phone. Thank God for my paranoia, voice memos were my religion now. Her expression didn't change as she listened. She simply said, "Go home, let us handle this." I didn't sleep that night. I imagined every file he'd archived, every backroom conversation he'd captured, every whispered deal he'd quietly logged. It wasn't personal. It was systemic. A hall of mirrors, just like he said. But what Alan didn't understand. You don't archive me. I write the history myself. 2 weeks later, the company restructured the entire infrastructure division. Alan resigned. His access was revoked within 15 minutes. But the files, the ones he claimed to be archiving, never found. No trace. No folder. No logs. Just one final envelope in my locker. Inside, a USB. Labeled only. Truth for when they turn on you. It sits in my desk drawer now. Still unopened. Because here's the thing about betrayal in corporate life. You don't beat it by exposing it all at once. You beat it by knowing exactly when to strike. When the lights are brightest. When the lies are loudest. And when they finally forget you were ever watching. Because the mirror never forgets. And now, I'm the one holding it. Subscribe to my Mia's Stories YouTube channel for raw, emotional stories and authentic insights that encourage healing, growth, and understanding. Don't forget to be part of a supportive space where stories inspire and lessons resonate. What do you think about this story? Let us know in the comments. Your opinion truly matters to us, and we're here for you.